Hello, everyone. My name is Rose Simpson. I'm a librarian at the New Haven Free Public Library, and welcome to Co-Create. We are here with our creative in residence, Nadine Nelson, and today's special guest is Mindi Englart. So would you two like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Nadine Nelson. I am the chef, owner, and educator of Global Local Gourmet. It's an interactive culinary education company. We specialize in Epicurean events that are experiential. I am happy to be here today, and I usually say how I know our guests. And Mindy, I don't know where we met each other originally. I don't know if it was on Facebook or I don't
I think we
know.
met through Ecoca at that
Okay.
um, Our Bodies Ourselves art show.
Oh, okay. So, so I did an installation called Kitchen Sanctum at the Eli Center of Contemporary Art, which is one of those like New Haven treasures that many people have never gone to. And so it's on Trumbull Street. And I believe that they are open now, so you can go and visit. But it is like Art Space. It's dedicated to contemporary art. They do a lot of cutting edge exhibits, installations, work from artists all over. And so I had an installation called Kitchen Sanctum where people got to come and sit down into a make-believe kitchen. And there was a lot of great artists that were celebrating the historic book called Our Bodies Ourselves, which um, was a revolutionary book in this 1960 or 1970, and was the encyclopedia for women's reproductive issues and rights and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, we have the internet now, but then you didn't, and that information was very hard to be able to come by. And so it was revolutionary and was a organization that was out of Cambridge. And the Eli Center was one of the spaces a couple years ago that celebrated their historic anniversary. So that's how I know Mindy. So I'll let Mindy introduce herself now.
Okay, hi, I'm Mindi Englart. I guess first and foremost, I'm a teacher, a creative writing teacher and English teacher at Co-op High School in New Haven, where I've been for 20 years. And that's what I mostly do. But I have a couple of creative things I've done over the last year. I'm also an artist, a writer, just a creative thinker, I think. And in the last year with the pandemic, I had some time because I was home so much to do two things that were brewing for like decades, actually. And one of them was to publish a novel, which I self-published using Amazon.com. And it's called Stretch. And it's a book about, it's fiction, but it's based on a time I spent in my 20s. I'm in my 50s now, so it's like 30 years ago, living in a yoga ashram, which is a place where, if you don't know, you go and study yoga, and you live there, and you know, yoga is more than just the postures that you know about, that most people know about. It's actually like a philosophy, and there's more to it. So I was studying that and living in an ashram. So the book is about that. And then another thing I started this year, a couple months ago, is a business which is called the Single Mother's Discount Card. I'm a single mom, and ever since I've been teaching creative writing, I hear lots of stories from students for 20 years about all sorts of things, everything you can imagine. And one of the things was just being raised by a single mom and the kinds of things, you know, that people experience. And so that's just been on my mind. So that was on my mind even before I became a single mom. But when I did become a single mom about 14 years ago, my daughter's 15 now, in a couple of years, I started to realize there's just so many single parents, and most of them, actually 80% of them are moms, women. And just a lot of single moms don't do a lot for themselves because financially they, you know, often it depends on the situation, but a lot of moms are financially strapped, you know, and a lot of parents are that way. But if you're just on your own, it's double hard. And so I was thinking at the time, like, I'd like to go do certain things, but I just wouldn't, because I'd kind of keep the money for my daughter, or, just like that. So I was thinking, like, wow, if someone offered discounts on things that I wanted, maybe I would do something like go get a massage, or go, get a haircut, or, just different things, all kinds of things. And so I had this idea maybe, 12, 13 years ago, and I just launched it a couple months ago. And I'm going to probably talk more about that and how it's going. And the idea is just that single moms sign up for free to the business, and then I get business partners to pay to join, and they offer discounts to the moms. And it just works for everybody, because moms get discounts on all kinds of stuff for their kids and for themselves. And then the businesses get, promoted to this group of women who and their families. And so the businesses will get more business, because they'll be promoted to this group of people who would want to go there because they're getting a discount. So those are the two big projects I'm working on right now.
And how's it going?
How's it going? Well, the book is going well. So the book that's been out since last summer. And like I said, I self-published it, which is something anyone can do. I also was a graphic designer when before I was a teacher, and I only started teaching when I was 35. So I was already doing lots of other things before that. And I was a graphic designer, I was a writer, I was an editor. So I was able to put the whole book together myself. And let's see. So the place where the book is based on is Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
yeah, I have a friend that has spent like a bunch of, like, two friends, they've spent a bunch of summers working there.
Oh,
So,
really? Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what I did. I did that. That was like more than, I don't know if it was like, I was 25 when I went there. And I spent a summer working there, and that's just like a work study program that they used to have. I guess they still do have. And I liked it so much, I ended up staying there myself for 4 years. I worked there.
Yeah, they work there in the summertime. So they work and do like one is like a herbalist and works in a garden and does all that kind of stuff. And the other one, I don't know what she does. I don't know what Juju does, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did. Like when I was 25, I'm 55. So 30 years ago, I went there. I stayed. It was a very interesting experience. Not normal, not your normal at all. And the book, though, it's fictionalized. So it's got some elements of what I experienced, but also just fictionalized. Kind of a different place. Only a year. And it's not me, but it's kind of based on me and other people, sort of amalgamated into like different characters. So one thing the book is just doing really well. People seem to think it's good, which is like really nice for me, because one thing about this book is I started writing it when I was there, not knowing I was going to write a book, but I just kept a journal, because I just always kept a journal. And so I wrote a lot of stuff down when I was there for 4 years. And then when I got out, I was like toying with the idea of writing about it. And I ended up going to Wesleyan, which is Wesleyan University in Middletown. And I got a master's degree there I worked full time, but I went at night. And so it took me years. But I got a degree there, and the degree was Master of Arts in Liberal Studies. And my focus was writing. And so I decided when I was in that program for years that I would write this book. And I did write kind of a draft of the book. This was in my 30s, I'm in my 50s. So basically I've been working on this book for like 25 years. And I had gone through a lot of different feelings and things that kept me from publishing it. And it was a whole thing for me. I really wanted to do something to bring it all together for myself, but I didn't want to, all the reasons, maybe it wasn't good enough. Maybe somebody would see themselves in it and feel like exposed or bad. I didn't want anybody to feel that way. So I just had so many reasons, and I had to kind of work through them over decades. So it's like a big deal finally for me to put it out last summer, but it's doing well. And one of the ways it's doing well is actually through people at Kripalu who used to live there, like I did. There's a group on Facebook for like a group for those people. and people are hearing about it through that and buying it. And then they're telling me how it is to read a book like, 25 years later about something they did 25 years ago too. And it's kind of fun because again, it's not a normal place, at all. So, it's kind of fun, I think, for people to read about it, and it brings back memories and stuff. Not all good, but also good.
One of my friends wanted me to come up there, and then we had the pandemic, and so last summer it was canceled, and she was really sad, and my other friend also, obviously, because they said it is a special place, and it's one of those things that I think that for them, that they're from Jersey City and New York, and so they like the being out in the middle of nowhere. I think like having all those kind of kindred spirits, like being able to grow their own foods and make their own like tinctures and all herbs and stuff like that. I was gonna do that today, and I bought like my oil and vinegar and vodka to I went to Fresh is Fresh New London is a garden in New London. So I went on Friday and I picked a whole bunch of stuff that I foraged, and it's safe because they're a garden that doesn't spray. And so I was going to like make tinctures and like make some vinegars and stuff like that. But um I'm not in my kitchen, and I didn't want to do that stuff late at night. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
I
Because then
think it's so cool that you do that. I don't know how to really make tinctures and things, but I did go on an urban foraging walk once, a few years back through I think it was through the Institute Library. I don't know if everybody watching would know the Institute Library, but it's one of my very favorite places in New Haven. It's kind of
you
like,
can describe it. We've talked about it a bunch, but you
oh,
can describe it because you don't know who might be listening when, whatever. So
describe it, you said?
yeah.
Yeah. So the Institute Library is, I was going to say it's like a hidden gem in New Haven, but it is a hidden gem in New Haven. And it's on actually Chapel Street, and it's on the second floor. So you wouldn't really notice it. It's very small and it's on the second floor. So you kind of like ring a bell and then you go up. But, and I don't want to get this wrong, so you guys can look it up, but it's like the oldest functioning, it's the oldest member library, I think it is, in New Haven. It might be
In the
broader.
country, it's one of only 12
Okay.
membership libraries, and we've talked about it where it's not a membership library where it's like exclusive, because the first membership is only $25, and then it's a library that has like historic books, but it's a place where you have a listening library where you can play records. There's a place that you can play games. There's a beautiful gallery. And so Martha was on last week, so we talked a lot
Oh,
about it. But we talked about it like a couple times because I've had shows there and I've done things there, and I love libraries and different centers like MakeHaven, things that you can go and do and make and learn and stuff like that. So it is a great place. They encourage you to have a membership. It's a big space, and so it never feels, only when there is like a event is there a lot of people. So it's great to be able to go downtown and have a place which is quiet, and you can do your work, or you can go have a treasure hunt in the stacks and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, it's such a very special place. And I remember when I first went there, I don't remember how I went there first, but it's really beautiful. It's very historic, and it's just got a really interesting history of sort of progressive thinkers from the beginning. And you can go there for free and just ring the bell and look
Yeah,
around. You don't have to be a member
yeah.
to go in and look around. And I am a member though. But I have taken my students there at times, and we have gone and just sat and written, like just people find a different quiet. It's beautiful, like wood and books and tables, and like the gallery upstairs. And it's just really inspiring. It makes you want to write. It makes you want to read, and makes you want to think. And I remember one time do you know Mark Oppenheimer? He's a writer.
Mm-mm.
he's a very well-known New Haven writer, and he met us at the Institute Library a few years back, and he gave like a talk in the kind of the larger room with my students, and that was really fun. He's really funny. He's a great guy, just a great fun writer. Yeah, so the Institute Library, anyway, I was talking about urban foraging, and I'm pretty sure it was through the Institute Library, maybe, I don't even know, I'm terrible with time, but like maybe 5 years ago or so, there was this guy from New York City, from Manhattan, who was an urban foraging expert, and he led a walk in East Rock Park. And it was unbelievable, like so eye-opening. I came home with like so much stuff to eat and cook just from the park, you know, like just there. Then, and if you don't take it, it dies, you know. I mean, it just comes, it goes. So it was really exciting. And then I got into that for a while, but then I feel like I need another lesson because I don't want to eat something that's poisonous.
Yeah.
So I would love to go with you, and you could show me.
I by no means am I an expert, but I just get stuff that is identifiable. And I say, you know, like being Jamaican, it's not there's lots of things that I'm just trying to. Sorry. I'm working on my iPad and I'm trying to do something and it won't let me do it. Sorry. By no means am I an expert, but like, you know, there's certain things that obviously you know what a dandelion is, and you know like whether someone has sprayed it or not, you know, like, so, you know, like on Friday I took the opportunity. That was the first time I was foraging because, you know, you have to make sure that you're at a place where you're picking from somewhere where they haven't sprayed. And so I got a whole bag of stuff. I got mugwort, motherwort, chickweed, spring onion, what else did I get? Dandelion leaves. And then there was someone there also that was there with me to identify the stuff that I already knew. But I mean, it's always great to have someone else identify. Like there's purple nettle things, and there was a little girl that was there, and she was helping me pick stuff, and that was really fun. But I go like with people like Bun, and then other people like when I'm going to Boston this weekend, and I'm going to see. I do a lot of urban foraging up there, but I'll see if there's someone who will go with me. I'm really good at the stuff in the spring because that's easy to identify. The stuff in the summertime, like when I go with Bun, he has a plot in Woodbridge and in their community garden, and there's so many different things that in the summertime they can look all the same, you know, all different varieties of green. You're like, okay, is that grass or is that...
You know what they have now? I think we were texting about this, but the ramps and fiddlehead ferns.
Yeah.
And I don't know where to find either of them right now, but they're like out for 2 weeks or something, and then that's
yeah.
that.
Well, they're probably out for longer. Oh, so you like, so if you want to like next week, we can go look. I'll show you like right around my house in Hamden. There's a whole lots of places that there's ramps that no one picks and stuff like that. So I can bring, and you know, whoever, if anyone's listening about the ramps, you know, like people are in the mid-Atlantic. They're lucky if they can be able to find ramps because people have over harvested them. So like on Facebook, especially in the springtime, I post a lot of stuff about foraging because especially during the pandemic, it's a way to, last year, it was like one of the things that really kind of saved me and my daughter is like to be able to go outside and to have a purpose and you know, like be able to gather things and stuff like mustard garlic and ramps in certain places like where I am, they're like overabundant. So you can go pick them and you're not taking away from the ecosystem. But ramps, they take a long time to seed and to grow. So what I do, and I'm lazy too. So I don't take them from the bulb, and you should just take a couple leaves. And so what I just do is like, I'll take just a couple leaves and then leave it so it stays and it can grow over and over again. So
that was one of the things at Kripalu that I was mentioning. One of the best things, but you have to ask your two friends, was the food.
Yeah, that's why she wanted me to come up there so I could teach and do that, do that kind of stuff. So
the food is
I wanted,
unbelievable. It's like,
yeah. And one of them was a grower. So it's like, that's how I met her, from farming. So learning how to farm. My green thumb is not as good as her green thumb. Like, she grows her own lavender, her own sage to make smudges. And she makes her own medicines, like tinctures and oils and stuff like that. So she grows enough stuff to be able to make that stuff. And she's very proficient. So yeah.
a friend of mine, do you know her, Susanna Holzenbeck? I don't know.
No.
Probably people listening know her because so many people know her. But she's done a lot of things. But she was an arts director at Co-op for a period of time. And she, when she left Co-op, she went to a farming program. And it's a year. I think it was in Massachusetts, and it's a year. So they go through all the cycles from, like, I think it's maybe spring. They plant. No, it's like whenever, I can't remember when. I think it's spring. They plant things. They watch everything. They have winter. They just have the whole year, and they learn. They learn from tractors and planting to distilling, like just everything you could do on a farm. They learn it all in a year through the seasons. It was just.
Is that the farm school?
Yeah, farms. I think it's the farm school or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I know about that. I used to be a dean in independent schools, so I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, it just was like just listening to her stories, and just it was like getting back to basics, just kind of just getting your hands in the dirt and see things grow and just kind of connect with that. It just was so healthy, like such a healthy thing to do.
So they have that for kids. So they have, like how kids can go to a private school and do, like, just like you do your junior year abroad or whatever like that. So you can go do the farm school for half a year. I don't know if they do it for a year for the high school students, but you go there and you do that. So that's really amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I've never been to the campus, actually. I've only just met people who at different professional development functions and stuff like that from there. But Massachusetts is so pretty, all the different places. I think it's in Western Mass, and that's so pretty, the farmland and all of that. So are you working on anything right now, or are we just talking?
Like while I'm talking to you?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know we were going to be working on stuff or anything, so I just figured we'd be chatting. I didn't know. So
yeah, it's fine. Like some people just, chat. Like, I mean, it's hard for me to do two things at the same time. Most of the time, like I do mundane things. I'm trying to isolate something, and it's like getting me. You can't really see it anyway. I'm making. Oh shoot. I'm making. I've been playing with collage and digital collage. So using historic pictures and then having other pictures on top of them. I have to print them to see how good they come out, and then see if I want to paint them and do other stuff like that. But then I was for a time, and I'm going to, it's just like easier to not do it on camera and then have to break down. And then when I at 8:30, I don't want to have to clean up stuff.
Yeah, I'm working, actually the thing I'm working on right now, I can't really work on because I'd be working on the computer, and that's pretty boring because I'm working on our school's literary magazine, which is I'm the advisor for the literary magazine, and I've been doing it for 20 years, I think. Yeah, 20 years. And it's just all the writing from the creative writing department, and then a bunch of visual art from our visual arts department at Co-op. And then I just kind of, put it together, and then we send it to the printer. So that's actually, I'm on deadline with that. I think the pandemic kind of pushed everything up. I don't know if people, if there's students listening, but it just feels like it's crazy. Like we're going to be done with school in a minute, and we just got there like a few weeks ago in high schools. Anyway, we just got there and we're done like June, middle of June. So
yeah,
everything's like suddenly get it done, get it done. So that's the project I'm literally working on. Like as soon as I hang up, I'll be working on the literary magazine, which is a creative project for other people. But I have lots of ideas, and I think that's the thing. I'm very interested in this. Like I like to hear more about the creative in residence. Like, are you the first person that's doing that?
oh no.
At the library?
The person that was before me, I think, was Joel. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a system of creative in residences. So once this residency is up, we'll put out a call for another one to, let's see. I think we've had at least 5 creative in residences since we've started the program. I'm not entirely sure.
It's so great. So the person has a year to, is it a year long?
6 months.
6 months, and you just whatever it is, and you just kind of create, and you bring creative people, and you just like foster like creative.
Yeah, do creative programs, encourage like offer office hours so that people, if they have a creative project they want help with, they can ask like for help with it.
That's so great. Nadine, how is that for you guys? How is that for you to do office hours with people? Do people come?
I have a regular client, and then I have like people who pop in randomly, or I just tell people about it, and if they ask me for advice, then I just try and put them in that direction on that Tuesday. So it's great. Yeah, like the person that I work with from one week to the next, like they're amazing. They've been on today.com. They've gotten grants. We've worked on a variety of different projects. So that's great about like my creativity, because like a lot of people look at people who are creative at like my creativity. I was editor of a literary magazine when I was at Hampton Hall. I was head of the literary magazine when I was the Black literary magazine when I was at Tufts University. So I went to Wesleyan for Center for Creative Youth. I don't know if you know that program. Yeah, so I went to that program.
Great program.
In the summertime. That was really wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah.
So it's a program for I think it's like geared towards kids that are creative and you don't get to go to art high school. And so they have like, it's really intense art focused summer program, and you have majors and minors. And so my major was writing, and I was a poetry, that was my creative medium in regard to writing, was poetry or playwriting. And my minor there was the Javanese gamelan, and I did something else also, but the Javanese gamelan was really fun. It's like all like this huge orchestra of instruments that are non-Western and really beautiful. And so like learning how to be able, like there's only a couple places in America, and I think there's only 2 places on the Northeast that have them, like Wesleyan and BU, I believe, maybe a place in New York. So like to be a teenager and get to be able to play that, but then to also just to live on campus and to be with other intense high school students who are all into art. So there's actors and dancers and visual artists and singers, all of that. So that was really fun.
I think it's a month long, right? It's a long program.
Yeah. I think it's like 6. I think, is it a month or 6 weeks, or
It's long. I know it's long. I know that the gamelan, I remember being there. Not that I didn't participate with music at all. I was going at night and I just did my thing, you know. But I know that Wesleyan's really famous for that and has incredible performances. That is reminding me that when, like, I don't know who's listening and everything, but you know, some creative people do one thing and they dig deep into it. And I've always been sort of what they call a generalist, you know, like you know, I've done, like, as I think back, I kind of forget things because I'm getting older, but also I've done so many different things, you know, they're
Right.
really behind
Exactly. Yeah.
me. But I used to play drums in New Haven when I first came. So I first came to New Haven. Well, I first came to New Haven when I was younger, like in my, like maybe, I don't know, 12 or something. And I would visit my aunt, Judy Katz, who lives here still. Hi, Aunt Judy. Not that she's watching, but hello. And I used to come visit her, and New Haven is a very, you know, I was stunned because I grew up in the kind of the suburbs of New Jersey. Actually, my parents, my whole family came from Europe, you know, in the early 1900s and settled in Jersey City, like your friend.
Oh.
But it was very different back then. But I grew up in New Jersey, and I would come up to New Haven, and, you know, this was like, you know, 40 years ago, can't believe it. And New Haven was so cool back then. Like, I'm sure you have young listeners and stuff, but like New Haven was so cool. I mean, it's so much cooler now because things develop, but like, I remember having my first Japanese dinner. Like, she made me a Japanese dinner, like sushi, I think, and sake. And like, you know, it was like, what is this? You know, I'd never had anything like that. And I took my first yoga class with her, and just like, so much was going on in New Haven. I saw my first blues, like blues club music, and so many things. Anyway, I ended up moving here after college, and I used to go to there used to be a blues bar on Whitney Avenue. I'm pretty sure it was like, I'm positive it was kind of where the Asian market is right now.
Okay.
Across from like the cupcake place in Kennedy and Perkins. I'm pretty sure, somebody can correct me or whatever later, but there was a blues bar, and it was really cool. And I just used to go there. I just used to go there by myself, sit there, maybe have a beer, and just watch these drummers play, like these jazz, you know, blues guys play. I think it was all guys. It was 100% guys, and probably it was 100% guys in the bar too. Okay, but it was really fun, and I got into drumming, and I also took African drumming. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's in Mikata. I don't know if you know that band, but they've been around since I'm talking about. And that guy who was one of the people in that, he taught me drums, like African drumming, when I was like 21 or something like that. Anyway, just reminiscing like the many things. I did dance. I did authentic dance here, like modern dance in New Haven, like in a factory. Like it's just so many things with New Haven and the arts. Unbelievable, you know, so many things. I love New Haven. I love New Haven, and I love the arts in New Haven. It's just, I can't imagine just a better place because it's small enough that you can do everything. You know, it's not so big like New York or Boston or something, you know?
Yeah. It's very, I was able to isolate some lace. Oh, damn. I wish that there was more jazz or blues in New Haven.
Yeah, it's a little different now. I mean, there's Cafe 9 and there's
Yeah.
Firehouse 12. Is that what it's called? Firehouse 12? Firehouse.
Fire. I think it's just Fire. Yeah, Firehouse. I don't know if it's Firehouse 12, but I might be mistaken.
I don't really go to blues like I did back in the day, but so now I'm doing like other stuff, you know, just keep going. But
Do you ever go to Firehouse? Like, do you ever go to their jazz? You know, they have a jazz series.
I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah. I like their jazz series. I assume they did not have it this year.
You're working on collage right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a collage with someone is Teresa Joseph is texting me, and it's hard for me to not look. I'm not one of those people I can't do. I'm not responding to her because I can't I respond, I'll totally like check out.
Isn't she's the partner of the photographer. I mean, am I right?
Yes,
Yeah. I'm
yes, of
totally forgetting his name.
Chris.
He's Chris
Yeah,
Mandel. Yeah, he's amazing.
yeah. So asking them if she'd like to do a photo salon for one of my closing events. Rose,
When are you closing?
I end in June, so um I will be ending in June. I wish that you could see these collages. I can't wait to print them out to see what they look like and see if they need embellishing, if they look good and vivid, like with the contrast of the old and the new. So, but soon I'll have to be well, you're talking about being a generalist, and I guess I am a generalist too. I mean, I think that I concentrate, there's certain things I do very well. I think that I write well. I've gotten to a certain proficiency, or I write well. Um, we should talk about grading papers. And so I taught for the longest time. I was associated with 10th grade, which is an interesting grade. What grades do you teach?
I've taught 9th through 12th at,
Yeah.
at different times.
So, but they're so sophomoric, you know. And then I taught a lot of electives for senior year, where I was always an administrator, and so like I negotiated where it's just like, okay, if I'm going to teach, I want to just teach do electives in the first semester of their senior year, because that's when kids are most um thinking about their grades, and they just do what you need for them to
Yeah,
do.
they're very
Because I'm
that's
not one of those teachers like I'm gonna go bargain back and forth with you. It's just like you got to do what you got to do. So at least like when you got them at that time, they won't be, they understood. It's like, look, you want to get into college or not.
That's very strategic of you.
Yeah, it was at private schools. It's like, dealing with their parents. It's like, look, uh 10th grade was hard. It was fun. 10th grade was very, very hard though. Middle school was harder, I think, though. I said I'm not a middle school teacher at all. But like 10th grade, it's like I would get papers that I taught honors. And so I would get papers and I would just give it back to them, because I was like, you wrote this at 3:00 in the morning and you didn't edit it. So like when you edit it and you like give it the time that it deserves, then I will give it the time that it deserves to.
I'm like I don't know. I you could ask my students, but I'm like if there's a spectrum, I'm like very soft and take it late and help you out, and just there is a spectrum for sure of teachers and how how they function. So I'm like super soft and empathetic and like no big deal. Like it's okay. Like not harsh, not strict.
Well, I would say like I'm in between, because like I taught in college preparatory, and like they're paying and their parents have this like disconnect of like accountability and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, but then if you have the disconnect of accountability and you don't get into the schools that they want to be able to get into, then so there's that. And then also like being a Black teacher in predominantly white school where parents expect you to go to a certain college. So
How was that? I'm a white teacher in a predominantly people brown and Black schools. Always, I never taught anywhere near a private school. I
yeah,
never went to a private school. Never
yeah,
taught private school. So
yeah.
just no experience there.
It was interesting at the beginning. I mean, I think that, like at Hamden Hall, I went to Hamden Hall and I was given at 17, they gave me like for the summer, like the whole drama program. And I was just like, I cannot believe you're letting me do this. But I was a volunteer at Yale in their child life department. So I've always like taken care of kids like since I was like 13 and got paid to take care of kids, like babysitting, everything like that, because I was very mature. So but then in private, like when I was doing, and I taught at Phillips Academy was like the youngest teacher to have their own classroom at Phillips Academy. But then when I did it full time, I think that in Boston, there wasn't a lot of teachers of color at that time. And so like and then I was an administrator when and I thought it was kind of like a setup, because I was just like, why are you, because I was 25 also. So I was
Wow.
like, why are you gonna give like a 25-year-old, like I'm gonna be teaching honors, like these parents do not expect me to be teaching honors. And not that I didn't think I could teach it, but it was like, why are you doing this to me? This is gonna be a setup. Like they're gonna come for me. And they did come for me the first year, but then they called my class Nelson University, because I'm a strict teacher. But I am fun, but I am very strict because I know what it takes to get to where they need to go and what they need to do. And they're not gonna blame me for not getting there. So I have a combination of like, I was a very creative teacher, but I'm very much like, if you have to take those exams, which I don't really necessarily agree with, but you're going to be able to perform well.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a difference because I've always taught creative writing, which is in our school at Co-op.
yeah,
It's one of the arts, so it's not related to the academics. English is in the academics, and then
okay,
creative writing is in with like visual arts, theater,
okay,
dance.
yeah,
So we never had any testing. We didn't have curriculum that we had to give. It's not it's the place where you come at Co-op. It's so cool. Like every student has an hour and a half of their art every day for
oh,
4 years.
that's great.
Yeah, and they pick one art and they stick with it generally for 4 years. And so there's plenty of time. Like, you have every day to do your art for an hour and a half. There's no testing. There's nothing pressing on you. It's really, it's an environment. It's like a experimental environment where people can have the time and space and people around them who are doing the same thing to um, see what they're into and keep trying different things and workshop it and perform or publish. It's not, there's no stress with it. Although I have started to teach English because our program got cut in the last 2 years with all the budget stuff and da 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 da. Long story short, I am teaching English too now for the last few years, and that is very, it's different. I mean, I'm kind of the same person, so there I am, kind of more of an arts teacher in the English environment. But like you said, like, you sort of, as you go through your life, you sort of have things you're just better at, even though I've done lots of different things, random things. I'm just, I'm a really good editor. That's one thing. So being an English teacher is, I think, everyone's different. Everyone's so different. And that's what's good for kids, like to have all kinds of different teachers, all kinds of different teachers. And I'm like the kind who is just really good at individually helping someone kind of grow from where they're at with their writing, reading, thinking skills. But yeah, it's interesting how people are so different. I mean, every students are different, teachers are different, schools are different.
My daughter wants to go to Co-op.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so great. If you're into the arts, I can't imagine if I had been able to go to a school like that when I was in high school. I went to a very plain, there was nothing special about my school. And I was always artistic, but I didn't know that. Nobody in my family, nobody in my family was artistic. Well, I mean, nobody in my nuclear family. It just wasn't a thing that people did. It was like business or, how are you gonna make a living? It
Mhm.
wasn't like the arts, at all. So when I went to art school, it was just like craziness. Like my dad was like, no, I'm not paying for that. Like, what are you going to do with that? But then my mom was like, we'll figure it out. She could do it. So I did go to art school. But I mean, if I had been able to go to an art school when I was a teenager, I really think I'd be like a different person. And I certainly would have come to understand myself better way quicker because, my high school, I didn't enjoy high school I didn't feel connected, you know, but I think people at co-op, a lot of them do feel connected through their arts and just, you know, I mean, the magnet program in general is so cool because it just allows students at that young age to pick something to dig deep into and be with other people who are into it too. I think it's incredible. I love the magnet program. Every once in a while, you'll hear people saying that we shouldn't have a magnet program and we should just have like big schools, you know, a couple of big schools, and like we would save on buildings and busing. You know, I mean, we would save money. I guess so, for sure, if we had less schools. But you know, I know everything kind of comes down to money in a way, but it's not the only factor. So to me, the magnet program is incredible in New Haven. There's so many options. My daughter's going to sound school, which is totally different, you know?
Yeah, my brother went to the sound school in like elementary and middle school. He was ADD and like hyperactive, and he kept like it interfered with his schooling because he wasn't getting like the one-on-one attention he needed. So for high school, my parents and my brother looked around for other schools, and they ended up going to the sound school, which the entire like student body there is smaller than my school's like graduating class. I went to Hamden High, and he had much smaller class size, much like closer attention. It worked out a whole lot better for him. He thrived there.
It's very interesting. My daughter's just in ninth grade, but remember, she's been in the pandemic, so she only went it's been remote. Her whole first year of high school is remote. So she just went back. What was it like for high school students? 3-4 weeks ago, part time, like hybrid, and then I think it was 2 weeks ago, right? I also went back just recently, so my head's like exploding with it all. But you know, let's say 2 weeks of full time, which is 4 days a week, and wow, I'm so impressed with the sound school. It's so cool. It's so different. They're on the water. I mean, again, I don't know who's listening, but you know, it's right on the water, and they give them so much freedom. It's shocking because at my school, this is just random talk. I know we're just talking about whatever, but at co-op,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So we're just hanging out. So at co-op, it's right downtown, and the kids cannot leave the building from when they enter at 7:25, which is too early, by the way.
Right.
School is too early. If anybody with any power to change that is listening.
Well, there's a whole meme about that. Do you know that? Where it's like about all like the studies about school. Like, you know, like it says that I'm an early morning person. I always have been. And
not me.
No, but I mean, and the studies show for high school students that, and I know that for my daughter, you know, like it's like kids want to stay up late. That's just
no, they don't even want to. Like they do.
Yeah,
you know, like they get not enough sleep because school is way too early.
Yeah.
And there are a few, of course, always who are early risers, but it's crazy what we do to these kids. I mean, it's just 7:30.
Yeah, it's way too early. And then
anyway,
they have.
Oh, I was just going to say that, but at sound, I mean, sound starts, I think, at 8. It's at 8, but one thing at sound is so cool. They give them so much freedom there. I was saying that at co-op, we start at 7:30 and then they don't leave till 2:15, and they cannot leave the building. They're not allowed to leave the building. And whereas at sound, the building, there's actually like 5 buildings, I think it is. And the kids have to walk between the buildings outside. They're not supervised or anything. They just are trusted to go. And then at lunch, they get an hour. So jealous because at co-op, we, the teachers and the students, get a half hour to eat lunch inside. And then, but at sound, they get an hour and they can just hang out on the property, by the water, at a picnic table or whatever, you know, having lunch. It's like,
so why why are the philosophies so very different?
So very different.
And even like for co-op, it's so interesting that you can't leave, because like at Hamden Hall, we could leave school.
Well,
you know?
I don't know if they still do that. Like I know when I was young, again, 1,000 years ago, guys, but you know, we could leave too at lunch.
Yeah.
Nobody cared what we did. I think I don't even remember, but it was
as long as if you had like, you know, because people had their cars and you go off and drive and, you know, like whatever. It's like, as long as you had, we also had a smoking.
We also had a smoking bathroom. We had a smoking bathroom.
There was like a smoking area. Like
we had a smoking bathroom.
we had we had a lounge. They had a lounge up
Wow,
on the
that's
top,
nice.
like
That sucks.
at the top.
We had, oh my God, I don't even want to start, you know, my poor
Yeah.
parents, like
Yeah.
they're not around anymore, but even from beyond, I don't even want them to hear. But yeah, we had a smoking bathroom, guys, like, and it was a smoking, like you're saying, like it was, yeah, you know, if you smoked, you go to the smoking bathroom. And it was so crazy. Yeah, it's just such a different time. But yeah, the philosophies of all the schools are really different, I guess. Although sound is a little different because it's part of the New Haven public school system, but then again, it's not because in New Haven, I mean, probably many people know that this, but you know, there's the two big schools, Hill House and Cross, and then there's a bunch of magnet schools, and then there's Sound, which is actually not a magnet school. It's part of the vocational agricultural program of the state.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's why they have a little bit of more flexibility. I mean, they follow the calendar, and they follow, you know, New Haven Promise, and like there's a lot that they have that's the same as New Haven public schools, but they don't have buses in New Haven like like other school does. So and they also don't they just don't have certain things, and they don't have to because they're not part of the New Haven public school district on some level. I obviously don't know everything that I'm talking about right here, but they have more flexibility because they answer more to the state. Yeah, and there's like these vocational agricultural program schools around the state, and wherever, like whatever surrounding towns, they each kind of hub around one vo ag school. So Sound is New Haven County, and like wherever it's the hub for anyone who wants to go for.
I didn't know that I thought they were a magnet school.
They're
So
also
how do you how do you get in there?
And I was just going to say that one of the biggest differences is you apply, whereas in the magnet program, and I mean, you have the comprehensive schools, the two big schools, and then you have the magnet program where there's a lottery and you put your first, second, and third choice. And then, you know, it's hard because sometimes people won't get into their first, second, or third choice just by the lottery. And whereas Sound School, you have to apply and have an interview. So that's a really different way of getting your student population. I mean, they choose who goes to Sound, which is not how the rest of New Haven works.
Well, tell me how it is, because my daughter wants to go to co-op, or I guess probably ECA, because she goes to Davis.
Yeah, I mean, ECA is great. From every single person I've ever known who went there loves it. Yeah, I mean, co-op's great. You know, people love co-op. The kids love co-op, and the teachers are amazing at co-op. I've been there so long. I know so many. I mean, there's a lot of new teachers, so I can't say, you know, that I know everyone so well now, but very dedicated. Teachers get such a bad rap so often, but the teachers I know for like almost to a person are so dedicated and care so much and are so smart in their fields, you know, like they're just so they're so into it and they care so much about the kids. I don't know how teachers end up with such, I think because when we're young, we all have such a hard time with teachers, and then we kind of keep that in our head or something. But as a teacher, it's
I
really,
loved my teachers.
I don't know. I didn't have the greatest high school experience. It was, I just wasn't really seen. I think that's like my part of my philosophy now is, and why I'm so, like I said in the beginning, it's just, I really wasn't noticed hardly at all in high school by anyone. Like I really was so quiet. Like it's funny that I'll just talk to anyone now and, you know, teach and show up. Like it's no problem. I love doing it. It's like easy. I was so shy and quiet and anxious in high school, and people, I just really hid, and teachers didn't really notice me. Nobody really noticed me. So now as a teacher, I notice every kid. Like I'm so like dedicated to, you know, being kind to them and drawing them out, and because I didn't get that, you know. I mean, I think if you ask every teacher and scratch the surface, their pedagogy always revolves around what they didn't get when they were younger, and that's what they're trying to do now.
I guess my pedagogy comes from like I feel like I had really good teachers, and like, you know, like the reason why I went to Wesleyan is like I wouldn't have known about that. It's like my teachers knew that I loved writing and I was a good writer, and you know, like from when I started at Hamden Hall, like I did independent studies in the summer, you know, like I self-published a poetry book in the end of my senior year, but I worked with, you know, like my English teachers, especially like my humanities teachers, like were really, because I was a good writer. So they, I was a teacher's pet, but not in that kind of like, I never kissed ass like that. I just liked school and liked what I did. And, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that I was mature and I liked being around the teachers probably more than the students. Like I liked being around the students in a social sense, but I I like the um I was a studious, so you know.
I mean, but I think like, right, like everyone's so different. And I mean, I don't
But
know.
also Hamden Hall is a private school
I mean,
where
private school versus public
it's for
already
school,
you're
you know,
saying.
like it's a private school where, you know, it is a progressive, you know, like I chose to go there over
Yeah.
Hopkins or Choate. Those were my choices. And I chose to go there because I was an artistic person, you know, and Hamden Hall, you know, they're into their sports and stuff like that. They're into academics, but they're very much into arts. And so I saw myself that I could do well there. I didn't see myself doing not it's not about doing well at both like Cho or Hopkins, but like Hopkins was very athletic focused. And so I was not athletic focused at all. So I could not see myself there at all. You know, and I
It's
also
just so
felt
cool
like
that yeah, it's just so cool that you at your young age that you were so mature to even know what your options were, what you wanted, and to be so specific, and then to put
I
yourself in a
didn't
place that was so developmental for you, because by far most kids on this
yeah,
planet
I don't know
do
why
not.
I had to do a project. I went to St. Aidan's for middle school, and I don't know if like what project I did where I had to investigate my private schools, and I knew that I wasn't going to Catholic school. I knew I did not want to go to Catholic school, and then I had to do a report, but then just understanding that all these different schools had different personalities and which one would be good for me. And I guess like coming from a Jamaican household, I just didn't want to go to like a place like Hopkins. It was like just so rigid. And I didn't want to go to a place like that. I'm saying that at the time that I was going to school compared to um and that's good for some people. Like some people need that rigidity and that kind of formal Latin education and stuff like that. But I wanted an environment where I could learn and in a way that was a little bit more creative. And Hamden Hall is more creative. I don't know how it is now, but that's how it was then. And I think Choate was like in between, but I did not want to be a day student at Choate, and I definitely didn't want to stay there. So that was the two options are basically Hamden Hall and Hopkins. So and Hamden Hall was great for me. My brothers went to Hopkins and Hopkins was great for them. You know, like they're really much into sports and very they're more conservative than I am, you know. So um um
Oh, I was going to say something else happened yesterday for me creatively, which is I had applied with my new business, the Single Mothers Discount Card that I had mentioned earlier.
and you should talk some more about that.
I tried to I applied to a few programs to try to help me start up. So, I mean, I'm assuming that the creativity that you're talking about is not just the arts, but just entrepreneurial, like any kind of creativity, right? So, like I said, my creativity just kind of bursts out with, sort of something I can't let go of. And this latest thing is a business. And so I tried all these things. I didn't get accepted to anything. It was very like, but I did get accepted to something the other day, which is collabs,
Yeah.
from the library. Um, they have a 6-week program that it's like, I'm forgetting what it's called right now. It's like an entrepreneurial program. It's starting next week. And I just found out yesterday I'm in. So it's a 6-week program. They have like some 6 weeks of evening like, classes, not classes, but, trainings. I don't know,
Mhm.
get-togethers. Maybe Rose knows more about it. And so I'm pretty excited because at the end, I think if you qualify, I'm not sure exactly how everything works, but you can not win, qualify for like seed money. I think it's like $1,000 to just help promote your idea. So I've been trying. I tried to get into the collab program, but I got denied twice. So that hurt. But now I got into this latest program. So that's another thing with creativity. Like, I don't know who we're talking to or what our topic is. I think we're just as if we're hanging out together, just talking. But definitely being persistent is like crucial because I would have been giving up on a lot of my ideas if I didn't have something driving me. And I guess what's driving me with my creativity is like, I actually try to let go of things. And that's why sometimes it can take me decades to make an idea happen. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to, or I don't think I'll be good at it, or nobody will care, or it's too much, I don't have time, or, like all the reasons. And then I kind of sometimes I try not to do things for all the reasons. And then sometimes certain things just don't go away. They do not go away. And like my book didn't go away, and the single mother's discount card didn't go away. And I've had other things over the years, like they don't go away. And that's how I know that I will be doing them because they don't go away. They kind of haunt me,
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this program I think it's through the library. Rose, do you know about it? The 6-week collab program?
No, Collab is a separate organization. We work with them sometimes, but it's their own thing.
Okay, because I know they worked out of the library. I mean, sometimes they meet with people through the library.
Yep.
And stuff.
Sometimes they offer office hours in the library, but they are a separate organization.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's going to be cool because I don't want to be doing my thing alone. Like, I think when people are doing artistic projects and stuff, or they're, all the arts, well, I mean, there's the performing arts where you're often with other people, but when you're a visual artist or a writer, it's alone a lot of the time. So, you really need, or an entrepreneur, you just need to be, or I just need to be sometimes with people who are doing similar stuff and just kind of be inspired and bounce ideas and learn. And otherwise it's just too much it just feels too isolating, I guess, for me. Everybody's different.
I feel like that too. I mean, I can go back and forth between like wanting to be around people and not wanting to be around people. But I do feel that I don't like to create I don't like to create in isolate. I like to get the feedback. And Alicia, to everyone, congrats.
Alicia James, she's my buddy. Is that Alicia?
Yeah.
She was my student, one of my early students, and now she's an English teacher.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
Where, in New Haven or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hi. I love Alicia. We have a whole thing because I love her. Yeah. And so I don't think this is like a thing where she can't talk, right? She can just chat but
no, she can. If she wants to.
I can turn audio on for her.
If she wants to.
She could tell how she was in my class in creative writing. I don't remember when she graduated, but she could tell how she wrote a story. If I'm correct, you won $1,000 from a contest you entered with a story that you wrote, right? And that was like a really big deal.
Yes, this is awkward for me. But
you want to put your camera on? I'd love to see you.
Not at this time.
I know you probably didn't expect to suddenly be on blast, but
no, but I definitely wanted to say congratulations on that. And anytime that I get to hear about your business and how you are trying to move forward and progress in that area, I'm definitely here to support.
Oh, Alicia early on, which was a few months ago, heard that I was doing the single mother's discount card. I think I told her we were talking about something else. And she right away was like, what can I do to help? And she's so great. If you don't know Alicia, she's so great. She's very involved in community stuff, Thank
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You want to say about, this is a whole thing about creativity. So do you want to say something about how you were so creative in high school? And
Well, you thought I was creative in high school, and I actually didn't think I was creative in high school. And as you were speaking and saying how you were so quiet, I didn't expect that from you. Like, I didn't know that that was your story, but that was me. And,
yes,
it is Teacher Appreciation Month. And, I always tell you, like, you were one of the teachers that gave, especially students in the inner city, opportunities. I was able to go to the Yale journalism program, and I didn't even know anything about that. Like, you opened up the door for so many of us to do things outside of our comfort zone. So yeah, I didn't know I was creative until you pushed us there, until you had lessons to really have us explore the world beyond the classroom. I remember I studied the Rwanda genocide, and
yeah.
I wrote about that. And that really got me into what I'm doing now, which is about social emotional learning, social justice, and those are the things I'm trying to incorporate in the school. So thank you.
Oh, Alicia, you're just like, I love you so much. That's so beautiful. You said, thank you so much. I didn't expect this to happen. I wish I could see your
Well,
face. Were
I'll
you here?
FaceTime you tomorrow.
Okay. Were you in school when we had the Bishop of Rwanda speak?
No.
Oh, okay. I can never remember, but we had a time where this guy, for whoever's listening, he calls himself the Bishop of Rwanda. There's a book, I bought it, and he spoke at co-op, and it was one of those life-changing like things for me, because I had heard about Rwanda and the civil war there and genocide, but this guy came and he was traveling the world explaining that in Rwanda, what happened, like these two compete, there was a sort of majority, group and a minority group. And long story short, you can go, there's actually a really good movie about Hotel Rwanda, which kind of, I think helps people understand what happened there. But anyway, this guy, so just real short, they had a war where everybody was killing everybody. Like it was really out of control. And what happened is people who knew each other got killed and killed each other. Like people on the same street felt differently. Like you can see how that could happen after the last year we had here. Like you know what I mean? Like people you love in your family or people who are your neighbors felt so different than you. This last year really made me think of Rwanda because it could happen, and it did happen there. And what happened is at the end, after the war ended, so many people had died and so many people were affected and so many people had hurt each other that they couldn't do like regular like they couldn't have like a justice system, because it was too many people and people loved and knew. So they ended up doing restorative justice, and they had these tribunals where people would like if somebody that you knew hurt somebody, killed somebody in your family or something, you would meet with them, with someone holding space for you, and they would say like what they felt and what happened and what they wanted in restitution to be able to move forward, and then that person would have to give it. And that was the justice system. The justice system was restorative justice. It was not like people went to jail. They couldn't, because there were not enough jails for like how many people did horrible things during that crazy time. And anyway, this guy, the Bishop of Rwanda, he has a regular name, but he calls himself that. He came and he speaks around. He did at the time, and he spoke at co-op, and he explained this whole thing that I'm telling you, and I mean, it really changed everything for me. It kind of spoke to like something I always believed, but he kind of put words to it. And since then, there's been restorative justice in New Haven, like as a practice for the schools and stuff. And there's more talk of that, around the country. But I mean, right now, everything's so crazy. I mean, this is a whole other topic, but which we could talk about, but this idea of restorative justice made so much sense to me. And I've never been the same since I heard this one guy talk. So it's so interesting that you wrote about Rwanda, because the story of Rwanda is a story unlike any other story I've heard about war, and what comes after. I've never heard anything like it. And he was saying to people, this should be done. Like we are a model he actually said that Rwanda at the time, anyway, that he came was doing really well, like economically, people forgave, people had to move on, and they did. And he was showing how a country, not a school or whatever, a police department, but a country could put this restorative justice idea into practice and succeed. I mean, it just changed my whole thinking, you know? So anyway, that's where I went with your talk about Rwanda, but
No, that's really, that's really important, and I am going to look him up. And you're right, New Haven now is pushing for like restorative practices in the schools, and I've even used that same strategy when working with my students and seeing that it's really effective. So
yeah, me too. And
right.
I actually, you know, Ms. Katz was in a program, not to go off on too much of a tangent with my friend Alicia here, but Ms. Katz was in a program that you were a speaker at last week, I think, the SEL.
Yeah, and we had it today too, and I saw her today.
She said you were leading, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. And I mean, not cute, because how old are you now? I mean,
30, I'll be 34 this year.
34.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell her I say hi. I always be like, I'm going to private message her, but yeah. So tell her I said hi.
Yeah, I was
Do you
just
call Mindy Mindy, or do you call her by her last name?
I still try to call her by her last name, but she told me to call her Mindy, but it's weird for me. I'm like old school.
I don't like when my students call me. I tell them, if you're gonna hang out with me, then you have to call me by my first name.
Yeah, she told me
it's
that.
like an awkward transition.
Yeah, I don't necessarily feel, I don't know. I mean, my advisor is 80 something, and well, sometimes it's hard not to call her Dr. Beich, but I mean, I kind of just think about, like, if we're hanging out and we're having tea at her house and stuff like that, I mean, she already knows that I respect her. It just, like, the formality of titles I think it's more awkward. I don't know. I mean, I started student teaching when I was student teaching, I was 20. I think I was 19. I think I was 19. I think it was 19 or 20.
Wow.
When I student taught, because I was young for my age when, you know, so I graduated, I was 21 right in senior year, you know, so so
I'm really jealous of your education, Nadine. I like everything you're saying is like, what? Right? Like, it's like, she was so early to everything, and like had such an incredible experience, and so many people support her. It's like, I'm so super jealous.
well, I don't like using the word jealous, Mindy. You know, it's not a good word to use.
All right. Okay, Ms. Nelson.
I put people on a list that use the word. I'm like, I have to watch out for them. Like, they might stab me. But no. Well, my mom wanted me, when I moved from Canada to here, I could have been earlier. And I don't know if it was her or me that said that I didn't want to go up in age, because I was already young for my class. So I would have been really young if I skipped, you know.
Where were you in Canada? I
was in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto till I was 10.
Wow.
And then I moved to New Haven. Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm also an anomaly in regard to like school education and stuff like that, but my teachers and I always got along. I always got along with my teachers.
That's another thing with Sound School. They call their teachers by their first names.
Yeah. I've worked in schools where they've done that and not, and I mean, when I was young, like I said, I think that when we get hung up on hierarchies, we can get hung up on hierarchies, but you know, like someone calling me Nadine or calling me Miss Nelson, you know, like it's there's more than respect than a title. So
I don't think it's like respect, you know, like it's actually really hard for the teachers. Like, I have two names for I myself have to call, like, I call all my colleagues Mr., Miss, whatever. Like, I don't.
Oh, you do? Why?
Because that's how they're referred to in everything all day by everyone. So if I see them out or something, or I see them and I'm just talking to them, I'll usually say their last, I'll be like
Oh,
Mr.
interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because that's the names we use, and it's confusing. Like I myself call people by their
Oh,
last names often, unless I'm really like friends with them and we see each other outside of school a
oh.
lot. We
I've
refer
never
to each
called my
other.
teacher, like my colleagues, by their last name.
We refer to each other that way. Like, it's
Interesting.
like you have two names for people instead of just one. I don't know about
Yeah.
other teachers, but like
Yeah.
that's how we
I
do
don't
it.
know how I feel about that. That feels very old school.
I mean, it is like I'm very, I think you could tell by my thing about restorative justice. Hierarchies are very hard for me, just any kind of hierarchical system since I was young. I just not a fan, power structures. So it's interesting, I just am used to the I'm just used to it because that's how it's done at my school. But you're right, like it is absolutely like,
Well, I think that a lot of people, when they say like when they hear that students can call them by their first name, they feel like they're, like you'll lose control. But I'm like, if that's the only control that you have is by someone calling you by your last name, then I don't know if you really have any control.
yeah, but
And I mean, and then also like you're not, supposed to have control of your kids or your classroom, like
but
you're,
Nadine, that's so different than how we're taught and how we are. Like school is, your teachers are in charge of whether a child can go to the bathroom, and that's always bothered me. Like, don't ask me if you can go to the
yeah,
bathroom. And then some
yeah,
teachers don't let them. Like, there are certain teachers who don't let students go during their class, unless it's an
yeah,
emergency. And it's like school is very hierarchical. At
yeah,
least the school. I mean, I've always been at co-op. I was also at Common Ground for a year, but which is very different. Also, just very different. All the schools are different in a way.
yeah,
It depends who is, the principal. It depends on who's the superintendent at the time. It depends on the culture. It's just lots of things. But I mean, school is absolutely, I mean, and that's why I'm kind of, it's a little hard for me. And that's why I said in the beginning, again, like I'm on the spectrum over here, like we're all equal, we're all equal humans. And I don't even think you don't have to respect me more than I respect you. And you shouldn't. Like, we're all just humans. So your needs are as important as my needs. And if you need to go to the bathroom, like take a pass so you don't get in trouble in the hall, but like you don't have to ask me for permission to use the bathroom. Like, that's your body,
yeah.
But that's unusual, to be honest. Like, I mean, I think that's pretty unusual. Like, school is very structured and there are hierarchies and there is like respect, and that's actually a word that I think about a lot. For years, ever since I started teaching, like people are like, I'll respect you if you respect me. Like, you're not showing me respect. Like, respect's a big word in school.
Yeah.
And I've been wondering for a long time. It's like love. Like, I feel like the word respect is like the word love. Like, what does it really mean? I love you. What does that mean? That can mean like 1,000 things. What does respect mean? Like, I mean, I know what it means when I feel respected, but like, I think it's very different than, it's not about calling me Ms. or asking me to go to the bathroom. I know that, but for some people it is like respect actually looks different for different people, and you need to know how it looks for different people so you can actually respect them in a way that feels like respect. So anyway, that's just a whole thing with me, like a little intellectual discussion about words, because just to say like show some respect, or what does it mean? Why do we use that word so much? Like, say what you actually want to say in there, like parse it out a little bit so we can actually make it work better.
Well, I think that also like in school, like the reason why there's like those power struggles is because a lot of teachers don't feel respected by administration or, from administration, or like in New Haven, from, 50, whatever that address is downtown is, so there's that kind of tension. I've always worked in progressive schools, so I've always worked in schools where in their mission, they're looking at the whole child, and at least they try to do that, so, and they're very, like you have meetings every week, I've always been on a wellness team and all that kind of stuff where you're looking at kids not from a punitive point of view, but from, like this kid's grades are dropping, like what is that? What is the reason for that? What can we put in place in order to help child as they're going through their parents are going through divorce, and we can see that it's affecting their grades or whatever like that. So like I've always worked kind of environments, and so that's kind of that's what kind of schools I went to, and those are the type of schools that even in public school, I taught at Cambridge Regional Latin, but that's very progressive public school, and then moved on to private schools, and then onto my own business. So let's go back to because we have around half an hour, and so I want to make sure that you plug your card and then how people can use it and some of the businesses, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So the Single Mothers Discount Card is this new business, and it's singlemothersdiscountcard.com, singlemothersdiscountcard.com. And you can go there to that website, and it just has a place for single moms to join for free. And then you're just on my list of, and I don't share any information or anything, and you're just on the list of the growing amount of moms. And so what it is it's like this idea that I think will work for everyone. It's this just little entrepreneurial idea that I'm experimenting with, and I'm, trying to forward. And the idea is that everyone knows a single mom, maybe not everyone, but I think you do, people, there's a lot of them. And it's for me, it's kind of a women's issue. It's not kind of, it's a women's issue, and it's a feminist issue. And I think being a feminist is a good thing. So if anyone wants to talk more about that, we can. But any kind of, I'm more of a humanist than any ist. I'm just kind of like a humanist, which encompasses all the other things like feminist and all the other supporting to everyone to be equal and have equal opportunity and equal treatment. So, and equity. There's a little bit of a difference there, but just equity. And so anyway, people know single moms. There are a lot of them. You might be one. You might have a family member who's one, or a friend. And the thing is, unless you are one or know one really well, you might not realize like all that a single mom goes through. It's a lot, and it's actually a lot to have a child, even with two involved parents. It's a lot. And I think once people become parents, if they do, they see, oh my God, all the hidden things that, people have been telling them about. And, but if you're a single parent, just take half of the equation out, and you don't have someone to drive places, you don't have someone to bounce ideas off of, and you don't have a double income. And so the reason why it's not single parents discount card, which I'm still toying with that idea. I've really gone back and forth with single parents discount card, because again, being a single parent single parent would be like, you still might have the other person involved with the children, but like the sort of custodial person or the person who's the primary caregiver. But sometimes there just isn't another person for periods of time or whatever reason. And so, once there's not two parents, even if they don't both have incomes, like say one makes the money and one does all the other things, either way, to have only one person raising a child or children is like it's double hard, and especially financially, and especially for women, because women make 18% less on average than men, white men in this country. These are statistics you can look up in many different, you'll see this in many, this is, statistics and very legitimate statistics from lots of sources. So 18% less for women in general. But then women of color, it's a lot less. And I don't have the statistics right with me, but something like Black women. So women make 18% less than men in general over a lifetime at the same kinds of work, or not even the same kinds of work, just working. And then Black women make, I think it's like 35%. You have to, I don't have it with me, but I could you know, send anyone information later. And then Hispanic women make 55%, 55% on average of what white men in this country make. In fact, Black men make, I think it's like 83%. I can't remember the exact statistics. You should just go look them up at a legitimate source. And so anyway, I'm not able to help everyone, although I wish I could. I'm trying to help a certain population that I understand the best, which is my population, which is single moms. And even though single dads also have a whole set of problems, you know, I'm just right now doing the single moms, because 80% of single parent households are run by moms, and also the moms, you know, women make 18% less. And also just women tend to be expected to do more of the momming kinds of caretaking things. So there's lots more statistics and lots more of why I'm doing it. But the idea is that the women who are raising children, primarily alone or alone, they could use help. And nobody expects society to have to help people. I mean, some people do expect society to have to help people, like I kind of do. But many people don't think that society, you know, through our taxes should have to maybe do it. Although we do. We do help all kinds of people with our taxes. And I believe in that myself, although I know people who feel strongly against, you know, whatever, this is a whole other topic. But this idea that I have, it's not about the government or any kind of taxes or anything like that. It's actually just business. The idea is that businesses who want to help single moms can offer a discount, and they will then get more business because they'll be doing something nice, and that those people will come to them versus going somewhere else. I mean, if you're going to shop somewhere, you'll go where they're offering you a discount, especially if they're recognizing your situation. And the idea came from me realizing that many businesses give discounts to students and seniors. That's really common. And they do that because they want to bring them in. They want people to go, like movies are really known for that, like students and senior discounts. And they want to bring people in who might not come to the movies unless they had a discount. You know, they're drawing people in. And they're also recognizing that those groups of people don't have as much money at those times, you know? And also single moms don't have as much money while they're raising their kids and even after, because they've spent so much. So it would be a way of just recognizing, businesses recognizing that there's like seniors and like students, single moms could use a discount. And so it kind of works for everybody. So right now I just have like the beginning of it all. I have probably 60 moms, really new. And I think I have like 14 or 15 businesses signed up so far. I'm hoping for this to be like, you know, nationwide or even international. And it's not just New Haven, but I'm kind of starting with New Haven because I know New Haven, but there's people already there who are not from New Haven. And because so many people in the pandemic have been using Zoom, people have online businesses. So some are, you know, by state and by area, and some are just online. So when you join, you can kind of see what the businesses are and, you know, take advantage of, especially if you don't live around here or wherever, you can just do online business and get a discount.
What are some of the businesses that, of the 14, you want to mention some of them?
Oh, yeah. I actually went and got a massage today after much more than, more than a year. A massage is like the best thing that can ever happen to me. And they're very expensive. So I kind of am, careful when I go. I just can't go whenever I want, but like, it's a really big luxury for me to go to get a massage. And I got a massage today from the Serene Spot, which is, if you know Anika Ocasio, she's just a cool person around town. And she made her business as a massage therapist. I think it was just her in the beginning. And now she's got a staff and a beautiful new spot on State Street in this really cool building that I've never been in, really cool industrial building. And her place is so beautiful and so nice. And I got a massage there with my single mother's discount. And so there's massage. There's another person who joined recently is, I'm just trying to think of the names of the people. Moon Rocks Cookies. Do you guys know them? They're in Hamden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the woman's name is Marnie Esposito, and she joined, and she does Moon Rocks cookies. So if you don't know, you should go look because they're very popular, and they're her mom's. She was raised by a single mom, and that's why
They're
she's
good
doing it.
people. They're good
Yeah,
people.
they are.
And
She's so friendly and good, and she's great. And she joined because her mom was a single mom, and now the cookies that they make together, and it's her mom's recipe from like her growing up. And so she is offering a discount to anyone who joins. And she does gift baskets, and you know, a lot of what she does is gifts for people because I mean, you can go get the cookies, but like she also, you can just do it online and order gifts for people. And so now I have a whole bunch of new people. I have a yoga teacher from Canada, from Ottawa, who is on Zoom. I have um, a person who does Optavia. It's a weight loss, like it's a program, weight loss. She's a weight loss coach. She does a program. And I have now a whole bunch of people because I went to a BNI meeting, which is Business Network International, I think. And
right, which one did you go to?
I
Which
went to
town?
the New Haven chapter, which Anika, the massage therapist, invited me to. And I'm debating about joining, but I might not be able to go to the meetings. They're weekly in the mornings on Wednesdays. And because school is going to shift, I might not be able to join because of that. But it's really great. And from there, I met all these people who do different businesses. And it's a really cool idea. It's very expensive to join, but it's really cool if you really want to grow a business. And now I have like,
Mindy, why don't we tell people, I can tell people a little bit about BNI. I used to be a member in Massachusetts, in Boston. And so they have different groups. And so what is cool, it's a networking group. It's Business Networking International. So it's an international group. And you don't have to be, you can go, like Mindy went as a guest. So someone can invite you as a guest and you can go as a guest, like for a certain amount of time. You don't have to make that initial investment, or you can go also as a substitute when someone can't go. So there are many different ways in which you can go where you don't have to make the initial investment. What is cool is that for a person like myself, when I used to do more personal chefing and that kind of stuff, I was in one in a suburb of Boston, and a wealthy, high network zip code suburb. And you can only have one of any business in the group. And so what is good is that you're networking with people, but there's no competition, which I do think competition can be a good thing. But in regard to this, how it can work was that I was in a group where there is a florist, there is an event planner, there is a photographer, there is a person who is there's a person that is a real estate agent, a lawyer. And so the whole idea is that these people are all going around, you're all going around, and that when someone needs a notary public, you can say, oh, I know someone. When someone, needs a person's like, oh, I was thinking about doing an interesting event for my daughter because she's getting married. Oh, you can hire Nadine, she can do event for your bridal party and have, instead of having, like, bachelor's, whatever, you can do a cooking class, so, the florist, I can say like, oh, you're looking for a florist? Oh, I know a florist. They're in my, so that's what is great about it, is that it's not a group where everyone's there. It's like very concentrated, and then you have groups that have been there for a bunch of years. And so they network really well together. And so yeah, so they have them, like my uncle leads one in Fairfield County. There's different groups like New Haven, I'm sure, like Woodbridge, Bethany, whatever. So depends on where your scope of where you're doing your business. But it is a very helpful networking tool if you use it right and you have a good mix of businesses in there that can
Yeah,
complement.
I loved it so much. I loved it. It was actually so nice because there's like 45 people in the New Haven group. It's a pretty big group, I think. And the people are all doing their business, whatever it is, but they're also helping each other, but they're also receiving help. And
Right.
it's very mutual. It's like it's a real community based on And the principles of the BNI group, I think, there are some really nice principles. Like you're not just, it's like a word of mouth, like get to know people, trust them, and recommend them. And then like, it's like a trusting group. Like I know when I went to the first, I went to two. When I went to the first one, somebody was leaving the group after years and people were crying. Like she was crying, like people were like, they were close, you know, they were really close and they see each other every week.
Yeah.
You have to go every week. You can only
Right.
miss 3 in a year, or like 6 months or something.
Mhm.
So people go every week. You have to. And, you know, I was really moved by like this, like business, like, you know, sometimes you think of businesses like whatever, competitive, cutthroat, all about money and just like, you know, everyone's out for themselves, like competition, you know, capitalism. But in this, it was like what we're doing, you know, it was just like, you know, it was just like a helping group. I loved it. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was important to describe it, because it's a little different than what people are used to in regard to networking groups. And as a business, it is it's a very effective tool. And I can imagine that in Connecticut, where word of mouth, you know, is important, that it would be really effective.
Yeah, I thought it is very expensive to join, so you can look it up. So there is that. But if you really want to, like, I was thinking, again, I don't think I can do it because of the timing now. Things are shifting for me, but I was going to make that investment because it, you know, it would by making like joining and making the investment and going every week, I would be very serious about growing my business. Like you have to be, because you have to go. You're paying a lot of money, and you know you're not just going to mess around. And I was going to say, like, some of the people who are, this is just great. I have such a diverse set right now, but I want to have like thousands of businesses. I want this to be like nationwide, and like you couldn't even count the businesses. Like I want there to be like a whole thing, like a student discount, like so many places. Or like another thing that I think about is like the AAA card or a Costco card. Like you pay for the card, you pay for the membership, and then you have like discounts on tons of things. But with this, because I really want to support the moms, there is no cost to join, at least for the upcoming future that I can foresee. I want the moms to not have to pay anything, but only to receive. I really want to help single moms and let them know that they're seen and the struggle is real and people care. And, you know, not everyone cares and not everyone has to care, but just the businesses who do care. So it's really between the moms and the businesses. And like, if it's not your jam and it's not about you, then it's just a niche. It's like a niche market, you know? So it's like the moms and the businesses who want to be partnered. That's what I want to facilitate. And I was just going to say, like, I'm pretty excited about these new people, and I want to get like so many more, but like, I really just started this. It's like so new. So it's free for moms to join. And then I have now like a personal coach, Barb Nangle. She works for the Known Co-working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she does coaching. This is really cool. I think her coaching, she does recovery stuff, 12-step recovery things, I think. And then she's moved into boundaries, like helping people create boundaries, healthy boundaries. And she said, like, after everything all the coaching she's done, all the different things, what she's come to, doesn't matter who you are and what you're coming with. Boundaries are like, creating good boundaries are the thing that can like solidify you, whether it's with work or with family or with like whatever it is, boundaries. So she's like a boundary coach, which I thought was like really kind of entrepreneurial, cutting edge, and very smart. And then I have this other woman who's doing a really cool thing, which is she does accent coaching. So if people come from other countries and they're in a profession, but it's hard to understand them because of their accent, she will help coach the accent to be more understandable. Not that she's trying to make you lose your accent, but just so that people can understand you better. Like, I thought that was really also a very novel thing. And there are people who will want that, you know? And then I have like an alarm systems, I have insurance, I'm just looking, solar, home inspections. Oh, I have a naturopath, I have house cleaner, someone that cleans houses, she's amazing. The naturopath.
House cleaner?
The house cleaner is Keisha. She's come to my house and she's amazing. So I'm trying to use the people that I'm recommending as much as I can, so I can really say like, yes, I really recommend. Keisha's amazing, and she's she's amazing. She's so full of energy. It's like crazy. She's amazing. And she's such a warm, wonderful person. And I have a naturopath, which was also like a big thing I want to have, is from everything from just like food and corner stores and restaurants and everything, and toy stores, anything, kids, childcare services, babysitting, daycare, like everything for the kids and the moms. But one thing I wanted was for the moms to have like self-care, you know, any kind of self-care, like a naturopath, like naturopaths, massage, like any kind of gyms, you know, anything where moms can, if they get a discount, maybe they'll be a little more inclined to take care of their bodies and their, you know, their whole selves. And so I have a naturopath who specializes in her special. She's a naturopath in general, which, if you don't know, is a naturopath is like naturopathic physician. They're not a medical doctor, they're a naturopathic doctor. So they go through a whole medical school training of naturopathic training. And they look at the whole person, and they don't prescribe medical pills. They would more do herbs and vitamins and
essences and tinctures and stuff like that.
Acupuncture, massage, make sure you're eating and drinking and sleeping well, like dealing with stress. So they kind of do a whole body mind thing. It's just different than medical, like MD, but they can work in conjunction. So this one, she specializes actually in like menopause and women's, like all kinds of women's health issues, you know? So anyway, there's just a whole bunch of people starting to like be businesses who are really into the idea of like lending more support to single moms, which is like just what I want. And my role is just to kind of facilitate the just make it working, keep it growing, and facilitate.
Well, thank you. I'm going to wrap up because I have a former student that is doing a game night and it started at 7, and I'm going to try and get 40 minutes in. I don't know if they'll let me in because it's on Zoom and sometimes, you know, when you're late, but I'm going to try. See, we're teachers that support our former students, and we're cool enough for our former students to want to keep in touch with us, you know? So Rose, what program do I have next week?
Next week, let me see.
Is it the fundraising? I don't know how we did it.
I think it might have been the food professional one.
Okay, so next week I'm doing a workshop during Co-Create on how to be a food professional in a way that I've done all different types of things. I've worked every aspect of food except washing dishes. I do not like washing dishes. But I have been head chef. I have been an event producer. I have been a bartender. I done recipe testing. I have done food styling. So I'm going to talk about lots of different things, curriculum development in regard to food, like ways in which food writing, you can work all different aspects of food, especially like during this pandemic, for instance, that if I was a standard cooking chef, then I would be probably in a very hard position. And so because I do lots of different things, I've been more than okay. So we're going to talk about that next week, Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30. I want to thank Mindi for being on here. Please check out the Single Mothers business card.
Single Mothers discount card.
Single Mothers discount card, right? And she put the website in the chat. So all it is Single Mothers discount card, plural. Sign up, support, tell people about it, write. We didn't even talk about writing, and like, you know, another time. Another time. But thank you so much, and support the library, support your teachers. Oh, and this week, you know what I meant a mental note of? That this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So show one of your teachers some appreciation. I'm gonna write maybe a little note or make a little card or something for my advisor.
When I was with you last time, we wrote thank you notes in lemon, and remember invisible thank you notes. That was very cute. I love that.
Yeah. So I might do that. I might do it in lemon. That would be funny. You know, I'm a trickster that I need to write some notes, some like crazy notes in lemon, and have people read them and find out what they are. So, all right, bye, Rose. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you for joining
Thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Have a
Bye.
nice night.
You too.